Picture this. You've been planning all year to attend one of the most unique cultural gatherings in the world, Burning Man. You've spent months crafting art pieces, prepping your camp, and getting ready for a week-long experience in the Nevada desert, where creativity, self-expression, and community come alive. But just as you're ready to head out, Mother Nature decides to throw a curveball. The gates into Black Rock City are suddenly closed. Not because of logistical delays or security concerns, but because of heavy rain and dangerous thunderstorms. Imagine thousands of excited attendees now being told to stop in their tracks, with warnings that the roads are unsafe, the desert is too wet, and driving could put lives at risk. This is exactly the situation unfolding right now, and it's raising a lot of questions about safety, preparation, and how unpredictable the Burning Man experience can truly be. For those unfamiliar, Burning Man isn't just another music festival or weekend getaway. It's a massive event held in the Black Rock Desert of Nevada, where tens of thousands of people gather to create a temporary city built on art, music, collaboration, and radical self-reliance. The setting itself is part of the challenge. It's a dry desert playa that's notorious for sudden dust storms, extreme temperatures, and unpredictable weather patterns. Attendees are expected to bring everything they need to survive, from food and water to shelter and gear. But this year, the challenge isn't just heat or dust. It's rain, mud, and potential lightning storms that have forced authorities to step in. Roads like Nevada State Route 447, which lead into the event site, have been shut down due to unsafe conditions. Officials are stressing that travel could take more than 8 hours and urge everyone to wait it out responsibly. The closure didn't come out of nowhere. Earlier this week, the playa, normally a cracked, dry lake bed, was hit with a sudden dust storm that packed winds of more than 50 miles per hour. Tents were knocked down, art installations were damaged, and 4 participants were injured, though thankfully only with minor issues. The gate had to be closed temporarily, leaving people stranded outside or scrambling for cover inside the city. This isn't entirely unusual for Burning Man, but it highlights how fragile the balance of this desert environment really is. Dust storms can be brutal, but what's different now is the rain. When the playa gets wet, the normally hard-packed earth turns into a sticky, clay-like mud that clings to tires and shoes, making driving nearly impossible. Cars and RVs can quickly get stuck, blocking routes and creating safety hazards. The official Burning Man website issued a very direct warning. The playa is too wet to drive. Do not drive. It's not just advice. It's a firm instruction. The concern isn't only about people getting stuck. It's about the ripple effect on safety, resources, and local communities. Towns like Gerlach, the nearest small community to Black Rock City, don't have the capacity to handle thousands of vehicles waiting for the weather to clear. Officials are asking attendees not to clog these towns, since parking or camping there could disrupt residents and create traffic bottlenecks. Instead, they're urging people to find safe spots to wait, keep supplies ready, and understand that patience is essential. Travel times, once the roads do reopen, could be extremely long, and everyone is being told to plan ahead and bring extra food and water. One of the defining aspects of Burning Man is radical self-reliance. Attendees are always reminded that this is not a regular festival with vendors or on-site support at every turn. You're expected to bring enough supplies for yourself and your group. This means if you're caught in traffic for 8 hours or more, or if you're stuck waiting for weather to clear, you need to already have enough resources to handle it. The rain closure is testing that principle in a big way. Imagine sitting in your car, hours away from the playa, knowing that pushing forward could mean getting stuck, but waiting it out means rationing what you brought. This is where the community spirit of Burning Man also kicks in. People often share food, water, and even shelter with strangers, because cooperation is one of the key values that makes the event work. The timing of these weather events is also adding pressure. For many participants, Burning Man is a once-a-year chance to immerse themselves in a fully different reality. People fly in from around the world, coordinate with camps that spend months preparing installations, and invest significant time and money into being part of the gathering. Having the gates closed right at the beginning of the event, after dust storms have already caused disruptions, feels like an extra layer of frustration. Yet in true Burning Man fashion, many see this as part of the experience, embracing the unexpected, adapting, and finding meaning in challenges. While some newcomers might be stressed about delays and roadblocks, longtime attendees often view these hurdles as reminders of the core principle. The desert itself is a co-creator of the event. It's worth noting that safety is the top priority. Authorities and event organizers don't take the decision to close gates lightly. When weather creates conditions where accidents are likely, or when the terrain is literally undrivable, it becomes more dangerous to allow people in than to ask them to wait. A wet playa may not sound like a big deal at first, but anyone who's been there during rain knows how treacherous it can get. Vehicles can skid, sink, or block emergency access routes. Pedestrians and cyclists also struggle when the ground turns into a sticky mess. These risks extend beyond just convenience. They can prevent medical teams from reaching someone in need or emergency services from getting through. That's why officials are urging patience and caution, emphasizing that this is temporary and necessary for everyone's well-being. The local impact is another layer in this story. Towns like Nixon and Gerlach are small, quiet communities most of the year. But during Burning Man, they see a massive influx of travelers, supplies, and traffic. This sudden surge can be overwhelming even under normal conditions. Now, with road closures and delayed entry, there's a risk of traffic piling up in these towns, blocking essential services and frustrating residents who aren't attending the event. The organizers are stressing that attendees must respect these local communities by not overwhelming them. Burning Man has always had a relationship with its surrounding towns, and maintaining goodwill is essential for the event's future. If participants ignore warnings and cause problems in local areas, it not only impacts this year's event, but also raises questions about permits and cooperation for years to come. Another element at play here is the sheer scale of Burning Man. We're not talking about a few thousand people. It's more like 70,000 participants, all converging on one desert location. When weather hits, it doesn't just affect a handful of people. It impacts an entire temporary city. That scale magnifies every problem. For example, a small rainstorm in another festival might just mean slippery grounds for a few hours. But in Black Rock City, it means tens of thousands of vehicles waiting outside, hours of delays, and hundreds of camps rethinking how they'll set up once they're finally allowed in. The infrastructure required to support this population, roads, medical services, sanitation, relies on carefully timed logistics. Bad weather throws all of that into uncertainty, and this year, it's proving to be especially disruptive. Despite the challenges, there's also a sense of resilience that defines the Burning Man community. Many participants see the weather not as a setback, but as part of the story they'll tell when they return home. Surviving a dust storm, waiting out a rain closure, or dealing with unexpected obstacles can add depth to the experience. In fact, overcoming difficulties is often what bonds attendees together. If you ask seasoned burners about their most memorable moments, many will point to times when things didn't go as planned, but the community rallied, shared resources, and turned problems into creative opportunities. While frustration is real, especially for those stuck outside waiting to enter, there's also a lot of optimism that once the weather clears, the event will move forward with even more energy and appreciation. From a bigger picture perspective, these weather events are a reminder of how vulnerable large-scale gatherings are to natural forces. Burning Man is often seen as a self-contained world, but in reality, it relies heavily on the environment cooperating just enough to allow it to function. Extreme weather, whether dust, wind, or rain, doesn't discriminate. It affects everyone equally. This also raises discussions about preparation and sustainability. Are attendees equipped to handle delays and closures? Do organizers have enough protocols in place to ensure safety without dampening the spirit of the event? These are ongoing questions that get sharper each time weather disrupts the flow. Yet, part of Burning Man's philosophy is embracing impermanence, chaos, and transformation, which makes challenges like this strangely fitting within its ethos. So what happens next? For now, the gates will remain closed until conditions improve. Updates are being provided through the official Burning Man website and social channels, and participants are encouraged to stay informed, stay safe, and avoid unnecessary travel. The rain will pass, the playa will dry, and entry will eventually resume, though it could take longer than people would like. In the meantime, those already inside Black Rock City are carrying on, finding ways to embrace the temporary pause. Camps continue to build, art installations rise, and communities inside the city adapt. For those still outside, it's a waiting game. But when the gates reopen, the collective energy of thousands finally entering the playa will likely add a surge of excitement and gratitude to the week ahead. For viewers watching this from home, you might be wondering, why do people put themselves through this? Why would someone spend days waiting in traffic, battling dust storms, or camping in unpredictable conditions? The answer lies in what Burning Man represents. It's not just an event, it's an experiment in community, art, and radical expression. People go because it's unlike anything else in the world. The challenges, including the weather, are part of what makes it meaningful. When you've endured hardships together with tens of thousands of others, the celebrations, the art, and the connections feel that much more powerful. Burning Man isn't about comfort. It's about transformation. And sometimes, transformation comes through unpredictable storms. It's also important to note that Burning Man is highly adaptable. Over its history, the event has faced numerous challenges, from regulatory battles and cultural debates to weather extremes like this. Each time, it evolves and finds ways to continue. The community has a strong track record of resilience, and this year is shaping up to be another example of that spirit. Even if the weather slows things down, it won't stop the event. In fact, many participants will later say it made this year more memorable. The stories of surviving a wet playa or navigating long waits will become part of Burning Man lore, passed down to future attendees as lessons about patience, flexibility, and community support. In the end, the closure of the gates at Burning Man 2025 is more than just an inconvenience. It's a powerful reminder of the unpredictability of nature and the resilience of human communities. As participants wait for the playa to dry and the weather to calm, they're also reminded of why they came in the first place. To be part of something bigger, something raw and real, something that can't be controlled. And for those of us watching from afar, it's a window into how people respond when plans fall apart and nature takes the wheel. The storms will pass, the gates will reopen, and Burning Man will continue. Muddy shoes, delayed schedules, and all. Because at its heart, Burning Man has always been about embracing the unexpected and finding meaning in the chaos.